Are you a true fan of the NRL? If yes, here's some trivia for you. In 2 interstate games in 1912, one player scored 60 points. Who was he exactly? If you said Harold Horder, aka Wonder Winger, you are absolutely right. He scored 5 tries and kicked 8 goals in one game, then added 5 more tries and 7 goals the next. He was a South Sydney junior who spent 7 seasons with the Rabbitohs before moving to North Sydney for a season, before returning to South Sydney for 1 season in 1924. Since its start, the fierce rivalry between Queensland and NSW has generated some hilarious situations. What began as curiosity evolved into the most well-known rugby league match. As we gear up for the 2022 State of Origin series, it's time to look back at some of the series' most memorable events, from tries to stoushes and everything in between. Hello and welcome to today's video. We will talk about the memorable moments of all times that the renowned State of Origin has served through time. Don't touch that dial as we will be talking about these. Some will amaze you, shock you, and take you back in time, serving you with top-tier nostalgia if you are a real rugby fan. Before we start, a sub to the channel will be highly appreciated. Turn on the post notification bell, like and comment. Having done that, let's get to it. Number 10. Wally Binning sends Lang Park crazy. Game 2, 1988. When mentioning the heroes of the NRL, it would be a crime to leave this champion of the last decade, Wally Lewis. He was undoubtedly the biggest hero of the Lang Park faithful. The king could do no wrong in Queenslanders' eyes. Referee Mick Stone sent the Maroons' Greg Conescu and the Blues' Phil Daly to the sin bin in Game 2 of the 1988 season. Queensland captain Lewis continued to chastise Stone until the referee put up 5 fingers and motioned for King to join him on the sidelines. This was a wrong move, since it let the crowd's anger loose. The crowd became enraged and started throwing entire beer cans onto the field. Ultimately, the game was resumed, and the home team triumphed 16-6. But the unpleasant episode signaled the end of beer provided in cans during Origin matches. Number 9. Winning in the wet. Michael O'Connor, Game 2, 1991. Landing a pressure kick in Origin is difficult enough, but it's considerably more difficult when the field resembles a swimming pool. However, with these conditions, the players have an even tougher time, especially when they have to secure the title. In the final minutes of Game 2, Manly's Michael O'Connor was confronted with this situation. Ricky Stewart threaded a long pass to the right to Mark McGaw, who barged over in the corner to tie the game at 12-8 with less than 5 minutes remaining. It was left to O'Connor to make the conversion effort under such deplorable circumstances. From 3 yards out from the sideline, he kicked to the right and swung it in brilliantly to win the game and keep the series alive for the Blues. Number 8. The Miracle Try. Mark Coyne, Game 1, 1994. This is the play that perfectly encapsulates the never-say-die attitude of Origin football. This game was not all about the experience that the players had, but the magic that they did to secure the lead and win even when the odds were super off. The game was a mostly one-way street in New South Wales' favour. With 5 minutes remaining, the Blues led by 8 points, but a try by Willie Kahn kept the game alive. With less than a minute left on the clock, the Maroons launched one last, desperate assault from far within their half. Alan Langer began it. Kevin Walters, Kahn, Steve Renouf, Michael Hancock, Darren Smith, Langer again, Mal Meninga, and lastly, Mark Coyne, who was caught by 2 Blues players but still slipped over the line to score. "That's not a try, that's a miracle," said commentator Ray Warren. Number 7. Fight Night at the G. Game 2, 1995. Brawls became infamous, or controversial, in the State of Origin, but few have been as well planned as the one that ushered off Origin 1995 at the MCG. Only 2 minutes into the game, Blues hooker Jim Sidaris fired a punch at Queensland winger Brett Dallas as the teams prepared for the game's first scrum. The rest, as they say, is history. Almost every player on the field quickly became involved in a frenzied sequence of confrontations that spanned 15 meters of MCG ground. David Barnhill of the Blues and Billy Moore of the Maroons were especially animated. waving their arms wildly at one another as the audience screamed. Sidaris' attempt to energize his teammates failed miserably, and Queensland went on to win the game 2012. Number 6. The Unexpected Hero, Shaun Timmins, Game 1, 2004. Shaun Timmins experienced the best and worst of Origin in the same game. Early in Game 1, the Blues' 5/8 allowed Scott Prince in for Queensland's first try. On the other hand, Timmins made amends just after half-time, taking a ball from dummy half near the line and scoring. At full-time, the scores were tied 8-8, resulting in the first ever extra-time Origin game, which ended when Timmins took the ball 35 meters out and calmly scored the winning try. He later disclosed that it was just his second successful career field goal. What a beautiful way to get your second ever achievement in your career. Number 5. Game 3, 2004. Freddys Farewell. There's no denying that the 2004 series featured its share of memorable moments, with Slater's try and Timmins' drop goal heroics among them. However, one of the most memorable events occurred in Game 3. This occurrence is still fresh in most of our minds, like it happened yesterday. This was when NSW's Brad Fittler made his last appearance in rugby. With a magnificent effort, the former Australia international turned the clock and scored the Blues' last try to seal the victory and the series. Number 4. The Dynasty Begins, Darren Lockyer, Game 3, 2006. The Maroons were attempting to prevent the Blues from winning a record 4th consecutive series heading into Melbourne's final game of 2006. With 10 minutes left, Queensland was behind by 10 points, but Brent Tate's 4-pointer gave the visitors hope. The Blues had their ball inside their own 20 with 6 minutes to go. Darren Lockyer rushed onto the ball and scored beneath the posts, after Brett Hodgson attempted a speculative pass that went wide off the target. Queensland won the series and began a record-breaking run that has yet to be broken, when Clinton Shivkovsky added the extras. Do you think that the series will be broken? And by who? Number 3. Hayne makes his mark, Jarryd Hayne, Game 1, 2007. At 18 years old, Jarryd Hayne was plunged into the deep end for his Origin debut at Lang Park in 2007. With 2 early tries, the Blues calmed the crowd, but Hayne seemed to strike a decisive blow shortly before half-time. Centre as the half-time siren rang, Brent Tate kicked the ball forward, but Hayne trapped it with his foot just over the halfway line, then retrieved it and turned around close to touch. He escaped Justin Hodges' grip, then sprinted forward and towed the ball down the line, avoiding a second tackle before beating Hodges to the ball and smashing over for a touchdown. Queensland won 25-18 after a dramatic second-half comeback, but Haynes' moment of brilliance will be remembered for a long time. Number 2. Super Cooper makes it 7. Cooper Cronk, Game 3, 2012. Queensland had built unprecedented domination over their New South Wales opponents by 2012, with multiple consecutive triumphs. However, this was the first series since Darren Lockyer's retirement, placing pressure on the halves pairing of Jonathan Thurston and Cooper Cronk. The series came down to Game 3 at Lang Park, where the Maroons led by 8 points at half-time and maintained their lead until Josh Morris scored in the corner with 10 minutes remaining. As the game progressed, the Storm's number 7 grabbed command, hitting a 40-yard field goal in the 75th minute. It was the difference, and Queensland won the series for the 8th time in a row. Number 1. Game 3, 2019. Tedescos' last gasp try. Our most recent moment was this one, which came down to the wire before concluding spectacularly. Following Queensland's triumph in Game 1 at Suncorp Stadium, the Blues responded with a commanding victory in Game 2 to force a decider at ANZ Stadium. NSW seemed to be on course for a convincing victory until the Maroons rallied back to tie the game with 4 minutes left. However, Brad Fittler's team pulled off a Queensland-style victory when Blake Ferguson sprinted down the flank before delivering an inside ball to James Tedesco, who scored the game-winning try and sealed the series with little time remaining. Well, there you have some of the greatest moments in the State of Origin games. Which one among these did you get a chance to see or feel while on the pitch? Please tell us in the comment section how the experience was. Before we wrap it up, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until the next one, stay safe and tuned.